back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing. Let me wipe you guys off. There is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. Gotta get good visual of Dashi. Sorry, it's a little bright. The sun is coming in through there. We do have quite a bit to go over today, so let me go and we'll start with the. I guess we'll start with the OMI. We'll get into some other crypto later. Security fraud. Richard Hart. Sorry. I don't know what came over me. Anyway, OMI on the day is up about 1.1%. We are at 000644. So like I said, we are at 700,000 in volume. The chart still looks okay. I don't even know if you could see that. Let me go and darken that a bit for y'all. Chart just looks okay. I do wish there was a little more volume. We will probably be getting that in the future, but again, we don't know exactly when. I will keep y'all posted. We outperformed everything. Oh my God, crypto had a bloody day today. We outperformed everything in the top 15. Uniswap did beat us. They were up 2.6% on the day. And then we actually outperformed everything in the top 41 except for what did I just say that was? Except for Uniswap. And then number 42 is Optimism, which is up 4.1% on the day. So out of the top 50 cryptos, OMI outperformed all of them except for Uniswap, Optimism, and XDC Network. Everything else was, oh my God, I don't know what AAVE is, but that is down 11% on the day. And we'll get to Hex in a minute. That is one of the screenshots I have to go over. I emailed myself a bunch of these screenshots. Let's see where these go. See where they take them. We'll try to go in the ABC order, not ABC order, any order. So yesterday we did have VeVeVeRse, or actually this was like a week ago. VeVeVeRse posted mwahahaha, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday with Tamara Hanna. She was on the podcast. But I want just to reiterate for you guys in case there's a couple people here that wasn't here yesterday. You had VeVeVeRse post a photo of David Yu and Jeremy Padua at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was just them, and it happened to have a Pokemon symbol in the background. Now, Jeremy himself, which was just on a live stream with Gary Vaynerchuk, he had posted on the Twitter saying, "Hey guys, there wasn't really a big space to take pictures at the Jazzwares tent where he was. He's like, Pokemon in the backgrounds is just a coincidence. I wouldn't read anything into it." So that's fine. I reported on that, and it was good. Up until yesterday, when Alfred Kahn had liked the photo. Now, did he even notice the background, or did he just see his boy, David Yu, and his other boy, Jeremy Padua, just taking a selfie, thinking that it's awesome, and like it? Most likely that. Again, I'm just giving you my things here. Several key takeaway points from a report about Subaraya, which is Ultraman, saying earning revenues for Subaraya has nearly doubled since 2021. So either Decker has done well in terms of sales, or Shin Ultraman was the primarily driver to sales. It's hard to say which is responsible for more earnings unless we have more detailed breakdown. Then Shin Ultraman has led to more female fans becoming interested in Ultraman, at the least in Japan, by the looks of things. This is definitely translated because there's a bunch of grammatical errors in here. But the main area is that this is responsible for most of the massive spike in earning revenues coming from China. Chinese earnings has now completely overtaken Japan by 3 times that amount. Jesus. Overseas revenues from outside of China has actually not been very impressive, just a small jump from 0.38 billion yen to 0.39 billion yen. This is an increase of 0.01 billion, so not a ton there. And the success of Ultraman toy sales in China has completely overtaken Disney, though. Yes, Disney, which includes things from Disney Princesses, Pixar, Star Wars, and even the MCU. So in April, we are likely to get a list of announcements for new projects going forward for the next few years. So any news of things like a sequel to Shin Ultraman may be revealed here. And this was on their Reddit. I might need to buy some Ultraman, because that's, again, clearly we're about to get into the East, and that's a really, really big deal. And also on top of that, you do have Dan Schawbel, who had said, oh, do I have it here? Yeah, so he had posted on the Facebook saying, "My friend's wife and son got back from China, and the son was wearing Ultraman pants." And I go, "Oh, that's Ultraman." And they were surprised I knew. His wife goes, "Ultraman is the most popular show in China." Again, that's from Dan Schawbel over on the Facebook, posting that. So that was really cool. In other news, we have a collector spotlight. I think his name is Inch 8. saying, it's crazy to think how early we actually are. Collect what you like and collect what you love. Again, this is Vivi's collector spotlight that they had a couple days ago. I just didn't report on it. He is from the UK. His Vivi birthday is 23 September of 2021. So it is getting close to his 2-year mark. First collectible was a Fantastic Four number 13. Most prized collectible is number 249, Luke Skywalker. Secret rare. Very nice. Most sentimental collectible is his number 405 partner statue. That's pretty dope. Favorite movies, Fast and the Furious. We do have the Fast and the Furious license, so we will be getting a bunch of the cars from there. Like, I would be a little salty if I got like a Dom Toretto over any of the cars that they drive. I guess Paul Walker would be really cool. And I guess you could make the memes out of Dom Toretto like, oh, like nothing makes sense. You don't need sense when you have family type of deal. Everyone comment down below links to all your favorite memes. And his drop wish list is Pokemon, Shrek, sports, and collectibles. Or sports collectibles. So yeah, Pokemon, obviously everyone wants. Shrek would be great. We do have DreamWorks, so it does make sense for us to get Shrek at some point. Could they have dotted those I's and crossed those T's, and they're just waiting for something else? Sure, I get that. Speaking of which, we did have some sales of, what's this fantastic? No, Spider-Man Noir, 7,150 editions. Out of that, they all sold out, so they had made 50K on that yesterday, so huzzah to them. Yeah, we'll go with Breaking Whale Chart says Hex and Pulse Chain founder Richard Hart is sued by the SEC for securities fraud. Let me go and read my response to that because me and Richard Hart have had some words in the past, not very kind ones, and I said this is actually a case that I think the SEC can win. They are definitely feckless, but they're not completely incompetent. This dude is 100% guilty of that securities fraud. And just moving on for the Securities Exchange Commission, they're saying Richard Schuler, also known as Richard Hart, is an American-born internet marketer, content creator, and serial entrepreneur living in Finland. Hart operates through 3 unincorporated alter ego entities: Hex, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X. Beginning in December of 2019 and continuing for at least the next 3 years, Hart raised more than $1 billion in the unregistered offer and sale of crypto asset securities to retail investors in the U.S. and abroad. Hart engaged in 3 separate offerings: Hex, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X. Each was and is a crypto asset security, and Pulse Chain and Pulse X are crypto asset security platforms designed, created, and maintained by Hart. Hart continually touched these investments as a pathway for grandiose living, or a pathway to grandiose wealth for investors, claiming that Hex, for example, was built to be the highest appreciating asset that has ever existed in history of man. Jesus, dude. Hart hired and directed developers to build and maintain the software framework to support Hex, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X. Yeah, absolutely insane. So let me go and just read something else on there real quick that I had. Oh, I just had a thought. Oh, all right. Here's another one. Speaking of in the macro of all of this, we have the Spectator Index, which I'm really salty at because they just did this kind of clickbait title here of these tweets. Now, they have 2.4 million followers on Twitter, so I guarantee you there was a couple of things yesterday that was going pretty hardcore. It was early this morning. Let me see what they were. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, did they delete them? Oh, no heckin' way. All right, I definitely have them. Yep, they say breaking. The SEC has told Coinbase all cryptocurrencies except Bitcoin are securities. And then they go on and they mention, oh, hey, Coinbase, we want you to cease trading on all cryptos except for Bitcoin. And at first glance, you're just like, oh my God, did this just happen? But this was like a month ago. This is what the lawsuit is about. This is old news for whatever reason right now is resurfacing. But I guess it's just coming out that this is what they told them. And Coinbase is like, get the fudge out of here. F you, Tony. So obviously they're not doing that. They're not playing that game. And then we have, so from FX Hedge, cost of buying a put has fallen to the lowest level on record. So it is pretty, if you want to hedge your bets, it is pretty inexpensive to do that. And FX has they have 400,000 followers over on the Twitter. Proud, okay, nope, moving on that. Nope, moving from that. Okay, so I don't know if David Yu had mentioned if this was, if he knew this was a parody account. So Elon Musk, obviously like one of the greatest human beings on earth right now, has a parody account over on Twitter, or I guess X, and he says the parody account had tweeted, "We freed the bird and now X marks his spot." That sounds like something he would tweet, but again, it is a parody account, and you had David Yu say, "Set them free." This is a real tweet. This is literally from David's account saying, "Set them free." Oh God. Set them free, birds. Birds come back, it will be yours forever. I'm considering to rename one of my companies. And again, real tweet from his account. He's got, I don't, and he says companies. He made very specific sure of the language on here where he said, okay, one of my companies. So OMI is not a company. OMI is a product of one of his companies, which I guess I don't think he would change Veve. Veve is, I mean, they already changed the logo once already. They have a bunch of logos printed out. I don't think that will change. A Comey, that might change. We have OMI as a product of a Comey. What could OMI turn into, or what could a Comey turn into, or what could Orbis turn into? I don't know. These are the only things that make sense. He does have a bunch of other companies, some that he sits on the board of, some things that he just has in, he still has his card shop in wherever he's from, New Zealand. So I don't think it's any of those. Like, those are too small time for it to have any meaningful thing, unless he just calls it like the new Veve physical store, which I guess is possible. So it's possible he could take one of his lesser known companies and decided to make it a Comey or Veve or Orbis physical store in order to just kind of get a little bit traction for it, which I don't know if he needs or not. Again, he could sell that store and it probably wouldn't matter. There has been a couple of people with some decent arguments saying, well, how do you go and take the OMI token, OMI and Veve, the company Veve, so the crypto should be called Veve. And I get your point. That is a little confusing. And people saying, okay, well, how would you do that? How would you go and completely change over? Well, the way you would do that is you get everyone's wallets. You track all the OMI that's out there. And then you go and you airdrop somebody has a wallet with 10 million OMI. Well, now they have 10 million Veve tokens. They could do that, and everyone will be like, what is this? They might think it's a scam. They might not, they might dump it. They might think it's malware. I don't know what they'll think. But that's also in the outer, that's on layer 1. How they go and airdrop you tokens on layer 2, like on the Veve app, I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would be possible. And again, there's 4 different types of OMI. There's GoChain OMI, there's Polygon OMI, there's Wrapped OMI, and then there's ERC20 OMI. Are they going to find all 4 of those different types and then airdrop them something? And if they do that, maybe you could, somebody that has a lawsuit out against the Comey, they have a couple billion OMI, let's just not airdrop them. I just think that's really, really messy. I don't know if that's something that they're entertaining. I think they could do that, and I don't want to say it'd be similar for them like migrating to Immutable X, because they needed to do that because GoChain is trash. But this is something that might not be needed. Long term, could I see the benefits? Oh, Veve has the Veve token. Sure. I could see that, but I just don't know if that they would do that unless a Comey changed the name to Veve Parent. I don't know what they would change it to. Again, I would love to ask David about this. I'll get him on at some point again, but most likely by the time I've got him on again, this would have been answered already. So comment down below if you want me to get him on soon. And then one of the other things I wanted to go over is I only have it for one. Oh, no, I have it for 2. Okay. So is the top 500 Veve holders, the winners, the losers, who sold the most, who bought the most, and then I'll get to some comments, and then by that point we'll be good for the live stream. It'll be good for the Veve live stream. So the most sold NFTs, the third biggest seller was A1 Tellum, which sold 102 NFTs. You had 0A17, which sold 222 NFTs. And then you had AQKSA that sold 2,400 NFTs on Veve. That is a lot. How much money do you get from that? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with that money. Now, granted, that person is still the number 14 wallet and still has 8,200 NFTs left. So there's quite a lot. Are they exiting? Why would you exit out of everything right now? I don't know. But again, maybe this person got liquidated. It's somewhere else, needs the funds. I don't know. Selling at this point, I really wouldn't do. I mean, we're not at bottom. The bottom was like a couple months ago. So I guess you're not technically selling at the bottom, but it is still pretty close. The top 3 earners, the top 3 big spenders were eNasty, 0230, that had bought 216 NFTs over on the Veve. You have Up 418, which had spent 365 or had bought 365 NFTs on Veve, and then you had Man, who is now the number 4 ranking wallet, bought 2,177 NFTs. So almost 2,200. This person now has 14,000 NFTs on Veve. Heckin' wild. And now this quite possibly might be the last week that we have the top 500 under 1,200. What I mean by that is the 500th wallet has 1,193 NFTs, and it usually goes up by like 5 to 7, sometimes 9 or 11 each week. Like going back like a couple months ago, you needed like less than 1,100, you needed like 1088. Now it's 1193. So within the next week or so, to be in the top 500 wallets, you'll need minimum of 1,200 NFTs, whether they're comic books, whether they're collectibles, and it doesn't really matter what it is. Like they could be a bunch of $2 comics, they could be a bunch of $2 stamps. So you could actually get in for about $2,500. You don't really need to spend a ton of money to get in the top 500. That being said, you're not going to be master collector with that, but it's still, yeah. Anywho, moving on, I just wanted to let you know that after last week, after I got the number 41 logos, I told everyone I'm going to stop for a while. And then I was going back to buying, like within 36 hours. And where did all my, okay, yeah. And how you can tell is that I spent, say, Chavez Cat 5, I bought 42 NFTs this week. Chavez Cat 5, 42 NFTs. I did not mean to. It just happened. I am addicted. So yeah. Anyway, I heard us. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Nice. Okay. Okay. Copy. Moving on here. Where was I? Oh yeah. We have the comments to go over, and then I will go over the. I'll just be live for the Veve stuff. Let me go and type in Veve, make sure I'm good, because that's going on in like 10 minutes. Yeah, can't wait. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, also, if everyone could go and smash that like button, that would be super great. 94 people here, only 23 likes. Free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, and smashing those super thanks down below. Zafacer says, let's go. Well, it says, I'm ready for this alpha. Hopefully they have some OMI news. For those of you just listening, I was hydrating. I mean, on their tweet, they didn't necessarily say anything about OMI. They said, join us, today for a chat addressing waitlist issues, MCP, VeVeverse beta, and more. Now, could OMI be in the and more category? Sure. I do think they really need to go, and they even had something else. They were talking about, I didn't address it. Update, airdrops, no, not successfully purchased this morning, no. Maybe I didn't, maybe I was tripping here. But they do have a couple things to go over with Waitlist, with MCP. Again, it's not necessarily complete yet. And even when it is complete, you do have to wait until OUP is ready, at least in season 0, in order to use those MCP points, because again, they are merging them. They're not completely separate. They are being fusion hard into one thing. What it says, Hex is hecked. 100% they're hecked. Bill Garner says, what up, Bill Garner? VV Fonz says, thanks, Randy. Always appreciate your streaming the community updates. Yeah, you got to. This is, again, we don't get like monthly updates anymore. We don't get, bi-weekly Twitter spaces. This is like once per quarter now, which is good. That's normally what big Fortune 500 companies do. Companies traded on the Nasdaq, they usually have third quarter reports. So this would be like their Q2 report, except they're not talking about the quarter prior. They're talking about what has happened so far this quarter. We're about 1/3 through this quarter already. What's going to continue for the rest of this quarter. I don't expect them to really talk about anything in like 2024. I'll expect them to talk about things that are going on this specific quarter, what to expect, how many VeVeverse beta invites are out there, when people can start sharing, because they're not allowed to share unless specifically told by Veve and the licensors. You're good to do that. So again, if you do have VeVeverse beta, go on, and if you do a showroom right now, make sure it's of only one license, because the way Veve made it seem in their NDA, which is hella long, it says like, oh, it has to be approved by Veve and the licensors. We want to keep this super, super secret, and they have to approve it if anything was gone out. So if you have something with DC and Marvel and Universal, like all these licensors would have to give approval. So if you to share it right now. So if you want to make something to share, make sure it's with only one license for right now. Again, obviously, when it's fully out, it's fine. You'll be able to go and do whatever. Anywho. Appreciate streaming. Yep. Matt Johnson says, what up, Randy? Yo, what up, Matt Johnson? How's it going, fam? Sendan Jin says, hi, Randy. Good day. Have a great day. Bought some OMI for the win. Get that bread. I love this game. I have a bunch of stuff. Ooh, all right. I have a bunch of stuff I do have to do over the next week or two. Well, really the next couple weeks, last couple months. Oh, before I forget, where was I? Before I forget, Loki Season 2 trailer dropped today. Unfortunately, there was no alligator Loki in the trailer, but that being said, the second villain was not in the trailer as well. Neither was really the first villain. There was very little Jonathan Majors, partially because he's going through that legal thing right now, and he's probably not going to be in this forever. Oh my God, I hate that. Yeah, he just had now he's not been found guilty yet, but apparently the district attorney for New York, or whatever for New York, is yeah, apparently they've got a lot of evidence stacked against him, and it's not looking good. So I would say for Jonathan Majors, they're probably going to have to do something with him for somehow write him out and be like, this is my true form now, like the one that Scott Lang fought. It was not his true form. His true form might be something else. Like kind of like It the Clown isn't necessarily just a clown. It's just this weird ass spider. Read that book. Watch the old miniseries. Really good. The new stuff is really good too. I haven't watched It in a while. I gotta rewatch. Anywho, moving on here. Bill Garner says, Randy, you reached 9K subs. Let's go. Randy Chavez, how many subs do you have? It's over 9,000. Sorry. Let's go. Just realized that. Pretty sure YouTube was blacklisting you. Maybe. Who knows, man. I just don't really think that. I mean, everyone that consistently makes content, there's a max amount of people that will watch. Now, obviously, I have a little bit of the Earth 2 audience, the Grumpy Cat and 4chan audience. So I'll have a little bit more than a lot of the other streamers. You have someone like Crypto Rain. Well, how does he have 20-something thousand subscribers? He just covers a bunch of different projects. It's not just Veve and Akomi. He covers a bunch of projects, so they all subscribe to him. Taps Trade, same thing. He covered a bunch of different projects. He'll be coming back in September too. Like after he gets married next month, after he goes on the honeymoon, in September he'll start making content again, and then a little announcement for him in that month and the month after. I can't wait to see my man again and squeeze him and never let him go. Sorry, I love him. Moving on. Deadcoin says, hello, Veve fan. Well, hello, Deadcoin. How are you? Juggle Solo says, let's go. Asai TV says, my body is ready. Same here. Daniel Marquez says, comment, hey, Randy and chat. Happy Monday, everyone. Stay positive. I'll listen in for a bit. Oh, why, thank you, senor, for the likes, for the comments. Slider says, dabs. Jomi says, do you guys think we get any OMI news? Probably not. I wouldn't say we would get any OMI news directly today. They might say, oh, hey, the OU... Well, I guess OUP is... If the OUP and the MCP are combined to make loyalty, then yes, what is MCP news is technically OUP news. You remember how in Star Wars Episode 1, Obi-Wan is telling the head Gun says, you and the Naboo form a symbiont circle. What happens to one affects the other. You must understand this. Like, OMI, OUP and MCP have that symbiont circle. What does happen to one does affect the other. So I'm hoping people understand this, that even if they don't mention OMI specifically, if they're mentioning MCP, it is a roundabout way mentioning OMI. Moving on. Kissy saying, I'm slowly becoming a regular here. Kissy, I love you so much. Can't wait to hang out with you in Germany. Or if you decide to travel anywhere, let me know. And Coolmo1 says, I love this game. Me too. Epic says, let's go. Potential Human says, click like and fill your thumb, humans. Num, 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 num. All right, sorry. Where was I? Sean Grasmick says, man, I want that Toyota Supra from the first movie. Oh, good times. Good times. Big Money Fuente says, let's go. Thanks for the update, Randy. Of course, of course. Mark Hunt says, OMI change to Randy coin. Dude, if they painted the Randy coin, they wouldn't do that. It would, if they were to change the OMI token, it would be over to something like the VeVe token or the VeVe coin. I think David knows better to make it the Randy token. If David did that, he'd be like, Randy, okay, you have strict behaviors now. No taking Lucy, no drinking, no farting, no nothing. Like, don't even make videos anymore. It'd be like when Gandalf talks to Pippin and he's like, we're about to speak to the Steward of Gondor. It's just best that you don't talk at all. Like, it'd probably be something like that. Anywho, Mark Robertson says, I think Orbis changing to VeVe makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense. Having Orbis, which is the company that I think Orbis and Okomi are the same. I know Okomi owns VeVe, and then Orbis owns Okomi, or Okomi and VeVe are the same. I really haven't taken a deep look at the breakdown. There's no real reason to. But yeah, one of those changing to VeVe could be possible. Or like VeVe Holdings or VeVeX or something like that. That's possible as well. And again, if they do that, and they make Okomi VeVe or VeVe Holdings, well, OMI is just the end of Okomi. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Rickard Brahma says Charger from Fast and Furious and Mustang from Gone in the 60s. Dude, if we had, I think it's Need for Speed? No, Midnight Club. 1972 Beasta is legit. If you have, like, dude, could we get, like, a Clint Eastwood? Could we get, like, a Gran Torino? That would be amazing. I love that movie. Deadcoin says, shh. This is how I get my deals. I love FUD. I sweep floors when people are complaining. Well, there's been a lot of that recently. It's been that for like the last year and a half. Sleeping Comics says, Randy, sleeping, my bae, I love you. Wobo says, sleeping. Matt Murphy says, what up, Randy? Hopefully big news in the AMA. Yes, yes, yes. I can't wait. We're about to start in a couple minutes. Sleeping says, when Loki Marvel Mighty? So yeah, that's the other thing. The Loki series will start after the Ahsoka series, which does start in a couple weeks. So break out your lasers, boys and girls. The Ahsoka lightsabers are, they're there. I think they're like $119. There's not a ton of them. And the Ahsoka series comes out in a couple weeks. The Loki series will start like a week after the Ahsoka series ends. We didn't really get anything for the Secret Invasion. I really would have liked a Nick Fury Marvel Mighty. But the Loki ones we do already have Mighties of, or at least we have a Marvel Mighty of Loki himself. We don't have any of all his variants. We do have Alligator Loki in general. He's not a Mighty though. And then we do have, we have a bunch of others. Like we get an Owen Wilson Mighty. We can get a Sylvie Mighty. We can get anything that goes to the TVA Mighty. I do think a lot of it will be paid off. Like all of this will probably end on a cliffhanger and will be paid off when Deadpool 3 comes out next year. Whenever they start to film that again. Anyway, we got like a minute and a half here, so let's get this spread. Let me get some more of the comments. Oh, hold on. Start listening. All right, it's just music playing right now. Just music. Mark Hahn says Loki already here. Sleeping says Mark, you're right. I forgot we already have them. Well, that was technically a Thor version of them. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of Easter eggs in that trailer. When Phone Ranger NFT, Sleeping Comics will know who the Phone Ranger is. He's actually a Marvel superhero that he was just a phone repairman called A.G. Bell. For those that know, it's just, they don't specify it's for Alexander Graham Bell, but his name is actually A.G. Bell. That's his secret identity. The Phone Ranger is just who he is. He's just called in to fix in telephones, and he goes to fix a telephone that happens to have an alien race inside them. But anyway, they do mention him in the Loki Season 2 trailer. They have him on a poster out there. It's really heckin' wild. I wonder if we would get him as a Loki Marvel Mighty. Okay, they're still doing the stuff there. Still doing the stuff. Or have a Loki, Randy Boone. My Uncle Me says, here for some juicy updates. Think they learned from before. Do not do too many updates with nothing to talk about. Exactly. That's why once a quarter is fine. Sean Grasman says, actually, the skyline from the second movie is so heckin' awesome. Heck yeah, it is. Milham says, yo, Poopy Bet says hi. Oh, we got to tell her said hi. And Jordan Reed says, Randy. I can't play this, but tequila. Oh, yep, Mexico and Colombia are wild. They are wild. Okay, hold on. Don't miss that. Don't miss that. 509 listeners there already. Shout out to Rudy and Tina Garcia that came back from their Euro trip 2 days ago. They were all throughout Europe, all showing everyone they could all of their VV NFTs. So shout out to them for that. Okay, come on, guys. Let's get this right. Fogue says, Ayo, just arrived. Are you going to be streaming with the space? Feels nice to see my 1.4 million OMI on my VV wallet. Whoop, whoop. Yes, I am streaming right now. But they are now playing the tequila. Oh, you have Ray Fixie in the audience. Ray Fixie hasn't been part of the community for a long time. It's so oh, he's got 18,000 followers. I'm one of his 119 followers. I feel so special. I feel so special when somebody doesn't follow a lot, but I'm one of the people that they follow. It's like, oh, you think so highly of me. Either that or they think really low of me and they just like me for the entertainment. In other news, a low mint Maestro has sold, number 82, to rank 1008. Ray Fixie hasn't tweeted anything outside of that. Any of the replies he has is, no, that was it. Outside of that, he hasn't tweeted anything since last year.
Mitch and Dan.
Ooh.
Got some good things to cover.
Dan Crothers is here.
Starting out here with quick tribute to Paul Rubens.
Oh yes, Pee Wee Herman has died. Everyone comment F down below to pay respects for the chat for Pee Wee Herman. Hope they're going to Decon Anaheim. I hope so too. It's great fixie.
In my life, as it pertains to me as a collector, for those of you who don't know, aside from Dodgers bobbleheads, Pee Wee art and Pee Wee's Big Adventure posters and things like that are my go-to collection. So
damn.
It's obviously a rough day, and it also reminds me, if we haven't heard it today yet, F cancer, and our support goes out to all who have been touched in some way or another by this horrible disease.
Alex is not having a good day.
One of our own who is going through it right now. So shout out to Silicon Secure and all those who know and love the man. We're Silicon Strong, and I just wanted to give a shout out real quick about that. All right, moving on. We got some good things to cover today. Dan and Mitch, how the hell are you?
Language.
Doing great, thanks, Alex. A little bit early here in New Zealand, but
yes.
I think my brain.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning,
I appreciate it, gentlemen. I know it's early for you, but it's kind of a good middle of the day time for European friends as well. So just didn't want to keep anybody up too late. But yeah, let's just jump right in. There's a few things obviously coming off San Diego Comic-Con. We had a really, really great time. Getting to know a lot of some new fans and some of our existing fans who came all the way down to San Diego, not only to attend Comic-Con, but also to join us at our after party. It was a really good time anytime we can hang with fam. And also we had a great little moment there in which we paid tribute to Silicon. But let's just kind of dive into what was going on at the booth. We had, as you may have heard or know by now, obviously we had some, we'll call them exclusive drops for people who were new to the platform and were there at the Marvel booth to hear our presentation, which was a really cool moment, I think, for us, in that we were really having a captive audience of people who were new to digital collecting or new to VV. And Ray Lowe was the host there with the Marvel booth, a really great job of kind of ushering us through a quick tutorial and some visuals about what we see as the vision and the future of digital collecting. So shout out to Dan, who was there with me at the booth and on stage, kind of going through that presentation. We did a couple of live drops in the old school style, just to make sure that everybody there had a countdown to experience together, and it was a lot of fun. And we did 2 comic runs, both 1,000 edition single cover comics. And then we also had some promo codes for new people who had installed the app in front of us, which was really great. Because if anything that I think was the takeaway, this year over last year, and feel free to chime in on this, Dan, was the people a little more open to the idea of what a digital asset is, and really what AR brings to the experience. I think you really saw it click for a lot of people once you showed them that collectible or that comic flipping pages in AR.
Yeah, I think, now that it's been a few years that NFTs and digital collectibles have been around, I from my side, and it sounds like from your side, Alex, I definitely felt that the overall sentiment and understanding and awareness of what they are was much higher this year. And obviously the development team has been working hard, making sure we were able to push KYC requirements much further down the app, so the app user flow. So the great thing about that is that we can actually sign people up on the spot, give them the promo codes, run them through the platform. But yeah, this time round it was really good. Just lots of very positive engagement from the thousands of Marvel fans that were there.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely some good learning experience as well in terms of like what we can do at future events, and just in terms of how we want to really bring people in and show them like even quicker like what the value proposition is for something like this, because not only is it your favorite characters and some of the biggest comic books in the history of Marvel, but it's so much more than that. And I think we'll dovetail into our next agenda item by one of the things that we showed at the booth, which was the Marvel showroom in the MetaQuest headsets. This was a really good experience, not only for people who really
I do have ADHD. Very bad.
They saw the AR, but they wanted to know more about what digital collecting was and what it could do. But it was also, for us, generally, the VV fans who came and really saw it, was another light switch moment in that you could see and move through an environment where these collectibles were set up in a very nice and curated gallery kind of type setting of all of the Marvel Mighties. And it was just a kind of a snapshot or a taste, a teaser, if you will, of what you can expect to see from the VeVeverse moving forward. But that said, we are now moving into a first phase of closed private beta. So Dan, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the comms that went out this couple days ago, and what can we expect from this closed private beta?
Yeah, so very excited to finally reach this point. The VeVeverse has been quite an undertaking for the majority of the team here. Specifically around a lot of the asset review. We realized that we have done thousands of collectibles and comics since the launch of Veve. So obviously we need to be making sure that when these items appear in the VeVeverse, they look the way that they have been signed off and approved by all of our IP and licensors. And that's required just a little bit longer effort than we anticipated, because the VeVeverse environment is much more realistic compared to what we've got in the app at the moment. So happy to say that has been moved along quite well. Still got a few assets to review, and it's for that reason that we've told this initial beta group that we can't yet share anything in terms of screenshots, but they will be able to talk about their experience, etc. So the initial beta is just a small group of people. We have selected users who have been very active in showrooms. And if you haven't been selected just yet, I'm sorry, you'll more than likely be in one of the upcoming rounds. But it's important to me just to make sure that we do keep this initial group quite small, quite concise, because I'm going to be dealing with a lot of them directly, jumping on some calls, running them through the platform, getting their feedback. But yeah, from my perspective, what I'm most excited about with the VeVeverse is obviously you can do everything you can do in the showroom and our existing showrooms. But the two main features that I'm really bullish on is, number one, obviously all of the social side of it. There's voice chat, there's video chat, there's text chat, a whole bunch of different communication tools. And the other layer, which to be honest makes me just spend hours in the VeVeverse, is all of the content creator tools. Up till now, with our virtual showrooms, we've only been able to bring in the collectibles that are sold on Veve, and some of our fans have been very creative in how to use those collectibles to, say, make their own shelves or custom components within their own showroom. But now there are a whole lot of creative tools where you can bring in, cubes or spheres or pyramids, all these kind of different simple shapes to really build up your own world. And we'll be continuing to add to that
as well.
That sort of library that you have. And that library is going to expand over the next few weeks to include a whole range of kind of like default 3D content, whether it's trees or walls or urban props, anything like that. So very, very excited to get to this point, and looking forward to diving in with the beta testers over the next couple of weeks and see what they have to say.
Great, right on. That sounds awesome.
Right on.
I think just to reiterate the point of keeping this initial closed private beta very tight.
They haven't mentioned OMI yet, no.
Really, as you mentioned, people who have been the most active in the showrooms. I've seen a few tweets of people claiming they got their invite, but
915 people here and 81 people there.
You probably don't think got an invite. They probably didn't. So don't be taken by charlatans on Twitter.
Charlatans.
We're really looking forward to getting some of the most active people in, so we can really kind of grow from there and figure out what kind of tweaks we need to make and what the next phase of beta will look like. But from your end, Dan, what do you consider a success metric in this first beta phase, and then what is the continued rollout look like? Not from a timeline perspective, but just from a functionality perspective.
Yeah. So the main thing from my side is really just making sure that all of the features and functionality work as intended. Obviously, we've been working on the platform for quite a long time now, so we are very confident in the performance of the features. There are other areas like specific roles and policies that need to be reviewed. So, for example, if you import or you load an IP asset from your Veve library, you're not able to change any of the materials, and what I mean by that is any of the colors on these IP assets. However, if they are a non-IP asset, like you bring in a cube because you want to create 4 walls and a roof, you are able to update all of the materials on that, change the colors, add lighting, etc. So number one is just around the features. Number two is really just asking the beta testers to help us kind of crowd review the assets that are in the system one last time to make sure they are in line with what is currently in the Veve app, or they look the same as what's in the Veve app. And from there, assuming that all goes well, I mean, obviously I anticipate there is going to be a few little things that we will need to perhaps fix up or make clearer to the users. Once that takes place, we can then really just start bringing in users in small batches, very similar to the same way that we whitelist our features now, like Payout, for example, which is still going through beta. So we'll be rolling it out in a very similar way. Also things like, making sure that, our servers are scalable enough, all the infrastructure that we've set up is not having any sort of pipeline issues. Most of the sort of what I would call the less exciting stuff in the background.
Got it. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so you mentioned the beta rollout process for a lot of our functionalities. So at this point, let's maybe transition to some product updates. Mitch, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. How are you?
Doing well.
How's everybody?
Doing well. Good morning. Thank you for joining us early.
Good morning. No issues.
Let's cover a few recent updates. As we know, and people who have been following along, obviously, with our comms on Twitter and Discord, etc., and the blog, I've seen a kind of a regular clip of updates going through as pertaining to different functionality across the platform as a whole. But can you speak to some of the more recent updates like localization, et cetera, and where we are with continuing to build stuff like that out?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, we're always consistently trying to produce updates for the community and right across, even for ourselves internally, right? So our cadence has been set right from the beginning. We always release in 2-week cycles, and people can expect both large and small releases coming through on that regular cadence. For us, releasing is very, very important, and it's almost like a discipline internally. If things internally don't happen as well for one of the various teams, the release actually doesn't stop. The teams have to peel out components that don't work, and they then plan it for the further release in the next 2 weeks. But our releases, we want to make sure that they're consistently coming out so that we can always make minute and iterative improvements to the application as well.
Got it. And when you mentioned teams, and I think we've kind of touched on this in a chat in the past, but at this point, the way your team is structured is that there are specific teams working on specific areas of the app, be it web, be it mobile, be it engagement, etc. Is that now how are we fully staffed in that regard? And I know we talked about briefly in a previous update about a new blockchain team coming on. Can you give us a little bit of an update on where the team is as a whole?
Yeah, in terms of scaling, teams, we've kind of hit that capacity, right? We don't think we need to kind of add infinite amount of headcount to the teams anymore. We've hit a pretty good point, and now it's really about optimization. So we've got various teams kind of working on various components of Veve itself, and they are pretty much fully staffed right now. So onboarding is still happening for the newer kind of entrants into the teams, but now it's really about sitting down and understanding what kind of roles we can add that will add exponential value to the teams, both from a organizational point of view, but also a capability point of view. So I think we're sitting at a pretty comfortable state right now. The teams are coming a little bit more on board, as in maturity-wise, learning about Veve. A lot of them have not come from the digital collectible space or from the crypto space at all. So their learning curve is going to be higher. But, we think we've got the right people in place to be able to kind of keep inching and kind of leaping us forward in our development right across from everything from, just normal functionality on Veve all the way through to, digital asset functionality.
Excellent. Okay. And then in terms of, we talked about briefly language localization. Obviously, we've rolled out crafting, and we're continuing to improve on that. Are there any other further updates on those two items at this point?
Yeah, from a language point of view, we've got Japanese, French, and Spanish, and I speak none of them. So it was a very interesting experience to try and get that through. But I think, from a language point of view, localization is going to be very, very important, right? We want the app to be absolutely accessible to the various people that are available for us to kind of onboard right across the world. So, we can expect more languages to be onboarded in the coming days, weeks, months, years.
Ooh, days, weeks, months, new languages, let's go.
To kind of make the app a lot more accessible. From a crafting point of view, we have one of the teams kind of working on building out the full crafting-based functionality. What we've seen so far is really just the surface of crafting, and our plans for the ability for people to turn, many NFTs into one, or many collectibles into one, and turn one collectibles into many. So there is a team there kind of working on building out and maturing that capability from where we are today into quite an exciting kind of future base for crafting in itself.
Excellent. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. And then, Dan, maybe do you want to speak to, in regards to localization, obviously it's very important that we make the app as accessible to as many people in the world as possible. But can you speak to briefly, I know we've mentioned in the past, and David has mentioned as much about localization being necessary to onboard, specific IP or licensors to the platform. I assume Astro Boy was one of the first fruits of that labor in debuting Japanese, etc.
Yeah, I mean, David and I have been very open about the fact we are both, very big fans of Japanese IP, and there's even a lot of Chinese IP out there as well. And really to tap into these markets, we obviously do need to be localized. There are a lot of English speakers out there, but even from a licensor level, it is important for these IP owners that the items that we sell are accessible and available, to their local audiences, and that is a big part of the reason for localization. And the cool thing about Veve is that it truly is a global app, and so we want to be making sure that we have the opportunity to sell a whole lot of different IP from different regions, and really it's a part of our growth strategy to bring on users from more of these countries.
Excellent. Okay, great. All right. Speaking of things in the works, can you give us the latest on our payout beta? Last we left it with a tweet was that we had onboarded a small amount of people to do some private beta testing, and those seem to be successful from those people who did get access. But what's the plan for further rollout and then opening that wide to our international user base?
Yeah, so Payouts is small. It's sitting at around 15,000 people that have access to the Payout beta at the moment. And we're kind of holding it there for now as we've picked up some kind of operational components that we need to kind of address. So once we get past those pieces, and that they're not really large pieces at all, we just need time to kind of resolve them with our new partner, we'll start to open that up to everybody else. So the whole point about the beta is for us to discover some of these issues that cannot really be discovered if there isn't scale being applied to the systems.
15K.
And we found some. And what we're doing now is kind of going back to address those pieces. And once we're done with that, we'll probably open it up to everybody.
Okay, great.
It's fairly short.
Yeah, I think one other point on the payout, I've mentioned in previous AMAs, whenever it comes to anything financial or anything where money can be pulled out of the system, we do like to be extremely risk averse. So while it may seem slow, our rollout process, we are just being very diligent to making sure that there are no security gaps or security holes in the platform. It's obviously something that might seem quite simple on the surface, but there's a lot going on in the background, right across support teams, risk analysis teams, etc. So we do appreciate your patience with it. We can assure you 100% Payout is fully built and implemented and rolled out, and we do look forward to getting that out to the wider community as soon as we can.
Okay, excellent. All positive.
All right, 15,000 people at Payout. Let's go.
Well, let's maybe dive into some things that have been maybe not as positive as of late, and that has to do with some of the issues we've been seeing with waitlist drops as of late. Mitch, I know obviously this is a new functionality for us. Can you just break it down to let me just go through how ideally waitlist should work, what the known issues are, and what we're doing to address those issues in order to move forward with other items on our plate?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's no secret that we've been facing some challenges with the waitlist itself, and I think Nesta tweeted about it 7 hours ago, something like that. The reality is that it is a new system. We did test it quite robustly, and we picked up some issues as we've progressed, right? So the waitlist actually has two phases. The first phase is the waitlist itself, where there is a kind of closed time so that people can join the waitlist, and then subsequently there will be a time where the waitlist closes and allocation happens, and then there will be a time where people are allowed to purchase, and then from there it moves on to rebound. So the two phases are the waitlist, the subsequent allocation, and then the rebound, right? We're facing problems right now or challenges with the rebound itself. So that is the area that we're focusing on in an attempt to kind of stabilize overall waitlist functionality. We think we've kind of got where we needed to go with that piece right now, and we'll be looking to kind of deploy that over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about quickly, though. I think there, maybe just for definition's sake, what the core waitlist is for the countdown to drop time, right? And then there's what I think we've just, out of habit, have been calling the rebound, right? Which is the experience that if a drop hasn't sold out, how they return to the store.
I'd go nuts.
Obviously, that's kind of where I think a good bulk of the issues or complaints, at least, that we've been seeing on Twitter and support tickets have been coming from. Can you tell us, like, what is the issue, I guess, specifically there, and how you envision that being cleaned up for the future?
Yeah, we actually looked at several different ways to do this. During the waitlist phase, we wanted to make sure that there was a degree of priority that was being provided to KYC-based users, right? As we've kind of talked about for quite a while, and that is the case right now. So during the waitlist period, where the waitlist is open and you can join in the subsequent allocation and purchase phase, those allocations will be kind of prioritized towards KYC users first. Now, if there are any allocations or additions that are unsold post the waitlist phase, they go into what we call a free-for-all phase, where because we've prioritized KYC users, non-KYC users don't really have an opportunity or have a much reduced opportunity to join the waitlist or to be successful in the allocation during the waitlist phase. So that open phase post the waitlist is meant to kind of level out the playing field for non-KYC accounts so that they can have access to collectibles and comics that are unsold at any point in time. During the unsold phase or post allocation phase, there are two types of instances where additions will be allocated back into the rebound, so-called rebound. One is if a person has been successfully allocated during the waitlist but has not completed the payment phase in the first 15 minutes. And then secondly, if there are less people that have joined the waitlist than there are additions available, there will be additions made that will be unsold. So that was the intent. During that rebound phase, it was meant to be an open phase, but what we've seen so far is that we needed to fix and bring in some degree of reservations to allow any users to actually some time to purchase before things go back into a revolving loop of being available and not being available. And right now, everything is just available, and at any one point in time, it can just become unavailable if someone else has purchased an available edition quickly.
Got it.
Yeah, and Alex, I think I just want to like to say, with the waitlist, it is a new piece of technology. I'm sure for all the OGs in the space here, they remember when back in 2021 when with the buy now, we were having quite a few let's just say exciting times with those drops. But obviously as that buy now system improved and got more robust over time, it became very, very solid, by the end. And it's just the nature of development. A lot of the times, we do a lot of testing in our staging environments with the team and a whole bunch of testers. And really, we're just going through this same sort of phase now with the waitlist. So obviously, we are 100% committed to making it, a really fun and enjoyable experience. And for those of you who have been, poorly affected, again, we always apologize. It's never, a scenario or a situation that we want. But yeah, please just be rest assured that we are working on it, all the time, and it is just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I think Dan touched on it really well, right? Like, all processes are iterative. We discover things that need to be improved, and we improve it. Even if we don't discover things that improve, we try to improve things. So this is a journey for us. And we'll always kind of be looking at making things better, making things quicker, making things a lot more fun.
Okay, excellent. Now, obviously, getting some of those issues ironed out with the waitlist is integral to moving on and releasing some form of what else people have been really looking forward to, which is MCP, right? And so we've successfully rolled out MCP showing up in your profile with points calculations. Obviously, there's still some minor issues with some folks about the actual calculations, but can you just give us a general status update of how Waitlist relates to MCP and where MCP is in the pipeline in terms of being able to get correct totals on points calculations, being able to spend points, etc.?
Yeah. For us, MCP is continuous. Work on MCP is continuous. Points are something we want to get accurate, but we're quite, and we're working quite diligently and with a big degree of focus on trying to get everything as accurate as we can. The reality, however, is that it's going to be an ongoing progression. So, we're targeting a success rate of around 98% in terms of accuracy. That's what we're going for right now. But the remaining 2% will always be something that we continuously work on. So our journey with MCP I suspect will never end. There will always be, enhancements to the point system. There will always be changes to the point system as we progress through to get points up to where people expect them to be. And there will be minor cases where we may have to look into it individually, or if we notice a pattern that is happening inside of the MCP point calculation system, we'll kind of address that with a release in the background, right? So these things are continuous for us. If you have issues with your points, some of you have already put in a request or a form for it to be reviewed. Please continue to use the form because we are watching these and we are picking up on things that are not going according to what we expect them to be, and we're kind of addressing them almost on a case-by-case basis as well.
Great. And so just so we can be clear for anybody who does believe they are having a points calculation issue, when they do file that support ticket, what are we looking for in terms of information so that we can best hone in and dial in to understand what the calculation should be, or versus what looks off?
Yeah, we're trying to really understand where you think your points need to be in the first instance versus where it is currently. We're trying to get a decent comparison between the expectation versus the reality. And this is because, as we progress the MCP service, we're constantly kind of making changes to it and making tweaks to it that sometimes, we want to make sure that there is a strong base for us to be able to say, yes, this is a legitimate case of the system not doing what it needs to be, and then we'll make a tweak to it to ensure that these adjustments are fair and equitable for the people that are affected.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And in terms of, actual, not timeline-wise, but at least in terms of order of priority, enrolling future features of the MCP out so people can feel like they are able to use their points in some way or have some other type of utility within the app as part of the program. Utility. Where are we at with, not only MCP, but the loyalty program, which we've talked about in the past as it relates to OUP, et cetera? Are there any, is there a priority list of how we anticipate rolling these things out post stabilization of the waitlist?
Yeah, so the waitlist and the MCP piece, as well as MCP utility, are intrinsically tied together. I was telling Dan not too long ago that we're finally getting to all the really, really fun things that can deliver a lot of value back to our communities and back to our back to the user base. And then we kind of, ran into a bit of a challenge with the waitlist overall. So a lot of the resourcing right now that we have working on the waitlist and on MCP utility are being directed to kind of address some of these challenges that we have with the waitlist. That does not mean, however, that we've stopped work and progress on MCP utility. It is very high on our priority list, and as I said last time, it is part of our, it was part of our Q2 objectives that kind of slipped into Q3 right now. Our focus is really still genuinely on delivering this utility for all the collectors that we have out there right now. And we know that there are many collectors with millions and millions of MCP points, and they really want to use them. So we've kind of gone through a phase of ideation, gone through a phase of thinking about, what and how can we add value using MCP points as utility. And we think we've got some really, really good things coming in the pipeline, but we are still right now kind of prefacing that against a stable waitlist, because the waitlist does preface the access to MCP utility. A lot of MCP utility will be based on the allocation system itself. So for us, getting the allocation system right is paramount, so that we can confidently continue to build that utility into the system itself.
Great. And just to expand on that, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying, I mean, obviously we have, we've rolled out the first iteration of the waitlist. We've rolled out the first phase of MCP. Whether it's obvious or not, but we know obviously we're not going to stop there. We're continuing to work in the background like MCP to deliver, phase 2 and onwards. So, I think one thing to say about MCP is that, we are dealing of years and years of data with millions and millions of transactions, millions of daily, possibly tens of millions of daily points in terms of the data set. So it is a complex system, and that's why we are seeing some discrepancies for some users. But once again, just please be rest assured that all of this work is continuing to happen in the background.
Got it. And I just wanted to expand quickly on the notion of allocation, so that people are clear what that means. When we talk about allocation within the waitlist, we're talking about allocating those who have opted into the waitlist versus other factors like, are you KYC'd? Have you put in extra or MCP points, etc. down the line, so that we need to get that infrastructure down pat, so that when we do release the functionality for MCP, that it's a little easier of a lift on the systems. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct. So the allocation system is going to be one of the main staples of how we progress functionality in the future, and getting that right is extremely important, right? If I'm not wrong, and I have been kind of just monitoring the stuff that's been happening across the various community channels, people are saying, are these allocations truly random, et cetera, et cetera. They are absolutely random at this stage, and part of the improvements on the allocation systems that we're looking at as well is to say, well, how do we ensure fairness in randomization? And these are the pieces that we're kind of working on and really focused on, because we want to make sure that these delivery mechanisms and the allocation systems that we're creating are robust, so that we can continue to build on them.
Okay. So definitely a randomized selection system. So, a special shout out to people I've seen say, I have not been able to hit a wait list to save my life. It's nothing personal. Please don't take it personally. We love that you keep trying, just stick with it, and, you'll get one, obviously, eventually, just by nature of statistics. But it's helpful to hear that there are no other, at this point, without MCP, et cetera. It's all based on allocation and prioritization for KYC.
And Alex, I think there's something else that I don't believe we've announced it, but I think it's fine that we can announce it here. Just some of the other upgrades we are making around the waitlist system.
Great.
I mentioned earlier that Veve really is truly a global app. We see that absolutely, especially with the implementation of phase 1 of the waitlist. The spread or the delivery of the collectibles is much more global, which is a really good thing to see. One of the challenges we have always faced with the drops is the actual drop time itself. Obviously, we do want to be global. We do want to be making sure that it is fair for everyone. And we've picked the time zone 8 a.m. Pacific time for the majority of the drops, because it has the closest sort of crossover for most of our audiences around the world. But one of the exciting updates that we do have coming out for the waitlist is you will be able to join the waitlist within I believe it's a 24-hour period. And then if you do have gems in your wallet, and you are successfully selected in the waitlist, it would automatically make the purchase for you and deliver it to your collection. So when you wake up, you've got a brand new collectible. And that's just one of the approaches or methods we are using to just make it easier. I mean, for me in New Zealand, I've got to get up at 4 a.m. and to be honest,
I was going to say, most of the shout outs were like, come on, you're a New Zealand company, why aren't you helping us out here, like especially, and then Australia is even a couple of hours before that. So that's helpful to hear, and I know that had been working on. I'm glad you were able to announce that that's coming here today. But that, just to reiterate, that basically means that, you don't have to wake up. Once that waitlist window opens, you can basically set it, forget it, right? If you have the gems to cover the drop, you opt in, go back to sleep, and you wake up and you either have the collectible or you don't. You can get it in the secondary market. But that's very helpful, I think, for people, not only in other parts of the world, but people who have work, and you're on the east to west coast of the United States, have a meeting at that time, or forget about it, but you have a much larger window
That's
to
legit.
participate in these drops, and I think that's great.
So just one more thing on this one. It's important to note that most things or everything on VV is never mandatory. Everything is a choice for collectors, and
Good upgrade.
Keep that right as a choice for collectors themselves. So, if you choose to not want to auto pay or auto complete a purchase, you can. If you choose to want to continue to wake up at 3 a.m. to make the payment on your own, you can choose to do that. Everything is about convenience and everything is about choice. And we want to put that choice in the hands of the collectors and allow the collectors to do what best fits their lifestyles.
Great. Yeah, good and very important to note. Thank you very much for that, Mitch. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it on MCP/loyalty. Anything else you guys want to add on that front in terms of, I don't know, roadmap, prioritization, or anything else that you'd like to announce today in terms of other functionality coming to the app?
No, just to kind of close off and ensure kind of a degree of transparency, right? We've got various teams working on various different things. So Waitlist and MCP utility are one of the things that are being worked on by a team. We've got teams working on our kind of OMI utility program as well. And, we expect that we'll be able to kind of talk a little bit more about what we've been doing with the OMI utility piece a little bit later, as we kind of firm up communications and firm up the details on that functionality coming through. So rest assured, as Dan said before, that, as much as we may not be talking about things or it might not be as tangible or visible, there's a lot of stuff happening in the background, and it touches quite a few different teams that we have running right now, and they're happening simultaneously. Just because we're quiet doesn't mean we're not working on stuff. In fact, actually, it's the opposite. We're quiet because we are working on things.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mitch. And I think, this year,
all right.
Hopefully everyone can see that, we are delivering a lot of features, since the beginning of the year. Obviously, waitlist, crafting, MCP, these are all the things that we've been wanting to get out for a while. And we are seeing a good cadence with these features come out. If only they were a lot more simple and were easier to deploy and get up and running 100%. But to Mitch's point, we are always working on stuff in the background, and hopefully that's apparent just through the fact that we are delivering on a pretty consistent basis throughout this year.
Yeah. If Facebook is having a year of optimization for Veve, it's the year of delivery.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So just quick housekeeping. Heads up that tonight they're going to be doing some of the referred to infrastructure upgrading. There will be an outage starting tonight, July 31st at 10 p.m. Pacific time. Systems will be down, and we do expect any processes and upgrades to be complete within a few hours, but just a heads up. So if you're doing some late night browsing, or you're waking up in the morning tomorrow and early tomorrow and see that the app is down, just be aware that that's what's happening. We're going through some upgrades. We'll put out some comms on Twitter about that as well. But there is no drop tomorrow, so we won't risk running up against that. In terms of drops for the rest of the week, we actually have some really good stuff, and I can't wait to share that with you. Obviously, Wednesday we have the next Disney comic, that is The Last of the Clan McDuck. We've just announced Fantastic Four #2, which is a big book, first appearance of the Skrulls. For those of you who have been watching Secret Invasion, you know how integral that piece of the story is to the future of the MCU, and how big that character and that that alien race has been to a lot of comic storylines for Marvel over the years. So that's a big one. And then let's see, what else can I tease here? Maybe another drop that includes a pencil, perhaps.
So soon.
We got some other good stuff. But just again, tonight, outage starting at 10 p.m. PT. We're down for a few hours, but we'll be back up as soon as those upgrades are complete. Anything else you guys would like to add?
Hold on, I gotta do something.
And just quickly, I know I usually say my little spiel at the top about fairly regular basis and whatnot, but obviously wanted to pay some tribute there to Mr. Paul Rubens. But I know a lot of people have been disappointed that we're not doing the video format on YouTube. We will continue doing community updates, but I think we're just kind of revamping the format on what that means moving forward. That they are with Dan and David, heads down, Mitch heads down on a lot of different things happening with the app and doing some traveling, securing new IP, new partnerships, as you may have seen from Mr. Yu's Instagram. It becomes a little harder for me to herd those cats, if you will. So we'll revamp that format a little bit, and we'll still aim to keep everybody informed as often as possible with any updates to the ecosystem as a whole. But please don't take it personally that you don't get to see our tired and beautiful faces on a monthly basis.
Fantastic Four.
Thank you for everybody for joining us today. And thank you for Dan and Mitch for getting up early. I know I saw David in the crowd earlier. I know he had some conflicts with some meetings early on this morning, so couldn't come up to the stage. And shout out to everybody who has stuck with us and is patient as we continue to roll out all of these different pieces of what is going to be the best digital collectible experience in the world. That said, I've been Alex, and we will catch you on the next one. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right, so a couple of things to go over here. Whew, all right. I'll get to comments first, and then I'll do, I guess while it's fresh in my head, for those of you that are just coming in, the ones that are just kind of looking, quick recap of everything. Let me go here. I wrote down a couple of notes. They did mention the Marvel, Dan had mentioned the Marvel Mighties again at San Diego Comic-Con. So they had a couple of different things at San Diego Comic-Con. One at the VV booth, which was the Marvel Mighties. So he did just mention that in passing, but that is one of the things that you did see if you were there in the actual VeVeverse, Marvel's version of the VeVeverse. You did open a door. There were a bunch of Marvel Mighties over there. There were a bunch of comics on the walls. Again, you only got to see this if you were there in person. 15,000 people have access to Payout. They are going slowly. They will get more and more as the course of time goes on. And then you do have bugs found. They are fixing it before wider rollout for Payout. So everyone should get that. I'm not going to say by the end of the quarter, although that would be very possible. I would say definitely before the end of the year, everyone has Payout. Before the end of the year, MCP is going to be rolled out. The first versions of that, where the first version of Loyalty, where you have the MCP and OUP working together for those waitlist stuff. Isn't Payout still available for us? Since no, Payout's not yet. And then we have. I sent my address. This person did not send it. Okay, what else we got? Oh, that's not a good one. Oh, all right. The app will be down for a couple of hours tonight from I think 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 5-6 hours or however long it'll be. It'll be down for. They're just doing a bunch of updates. Yeah, I have a couple people messaging me saying this could have literally been a tweet. Like what I just gave you was pretty much the sum of it. As far as OMI goes, both Mitch and Dan had said, hey, listen, just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean we're not working on it. exactly the opposite. That means we are working on it heavily. I do have, well, I guarantee you that's a priority. You can believe me or not. You can believe Dan or not. Again, if I thought this token was in trouble at all, I would have sold everything and gone into something else. But for the most part, again, like you heard on that, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth from both Mitch and both Dan. Alex even mentioned the blockchain team over. Well, he didn't say where it was, but he did mention the new blockchain team they hired a couple months ago. It is a priority. They are working on it, but that's exactly why they're not saying anything on it. When are they going to actually have an update on that for us? I don't know. Not yep. Come in. Yep. No. Space didn't. Yep. So I guess some teases. He mentioned that you could have another drop today that could have a pencil. So either that's going to be Frozen, which would be great. Peter Pan. I just don't like Peter Pan. Obviously, he'll do really well. Tinkerbell will do exceedingly well. Tinkerbell is. If they do Tinkerbell correctly, she could possibly be a grail. Like thousands of dollars. That's if I don't want to say if they do her right. If they make her super scarce, because again, she's like one of the mascots that you see at the beginning of every single movie, where she has her wand, of the castle. So that could be really cool. Again, I would just do it for a flip. I don't really care about her or Peter Pan, even though it's going to be super valuable long term. I probably should care more. I just don't. So you have those two. You do have Aladdin. That could be another one. So obviously that one you get Aladdin, Jasmine, Genie, maybe. Well, we already have a Jafar. I would love the rug. The rug. They better not have the magic carpet. People are going to make so many memes about that if they do. And then the last one, which I'd be super excited for, would be Lion King. So that's the other thing that we could get this week. I was hoping that the Lion King would be a part of the platinum moments, getting a Simba in that version. But if we get a Mufasa, if we get a Scar, a Simba down here, are we going to get young Simba? We're going to get old Simba. We already have Timon and Pumbaa, but I would really like something like that. I think that would be amazing, especially Mufasa. I love both of them so much. And then the other thing we have is he said it was Fantastic Four #2, which is the first appearance of the Skrulls, in a 9.6. Now, a 9.6 hasn't sold in over 10 years. And the last time it sold was $49,294. And that was back in 2012. That was before the Earth was supposed to end. If anyone ever gets that reference, it was the Earth was supposed to end like December 21st, 2012. And then it just didn't happen. I don't know. I was in basic training at that point. Anything could have happened. This could all be a simulation. I could still be in there. I have no idea. But yeah, the last time a 9.6 had sold, it sold over 10 years ago for about $50,000. So this is probably going to be 10,000 comics. I'm really, really excited for it. I'll have to put money in the app for this. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. That today, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That would easily get multiple six figures for that. For that 9.4. Or I'm sorry, that 9.6. So I am excited for that. And then any other piece of news? We have Mark Hunn over on the Twitter saying, I'm a huge fan of VV Official and the team, but honest opinion, that update was not needed. With that being said, keep grinding, team. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed by the real ones. Alex G, Dan Crothers, Mitch M. I will like that. I probably shouldn't have liked that, but I did. So, anywho, let's get back to some comments over here. Where am I? Oh, God, you guys be commenting like mother flappers, ain't you? No, they didn't. I'm really glad they didn't ask for people to come up. Every single time they ask people to come up, why is my account banned? Why did I do this? When Pokemon? Like, it's just, I'm very glad they don't do that anymore. It's just ridiculous. No, MCP more important than the waitlist issue. I mean, they're both important, and like I said, they work on everything. They have meetings about that all the time. Oh, MCP end of year, maybe. I mean, like I said, before the end of the year, you should be able to use your MCP and OMI on the app. Veve says, Randy boy, what are these pants? I've had a lot of pants. Dino Dragon, I hope they at least mention OMI. Again, they kind of mentioned OMI without mentioning OMI, basically saying, oh, hey, just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean we're not working on it. It is a priority for them. MCP 2024. I mean, we already have the points. When we get to spend them, yeah, it could be several months from now. I don't know. Veve says, nice. Says we should ask them at the end. They're not. Thankfully, they're not doing. They don't take questions. Fortunately, won't be able to be at work. This is Randy. Get your questions ready. I would have asked about what David meant on that tweet when he says, I might rename one of my companies. I would have 100% asked that. Like, he probably didn't say anything to the team. He probably just did that, and then the team just, has to deal with the backlash. Veve says, ask why OMI is not mentioned anywhere in the VV app or websites or social media accounts. I mean, they have mentioned it. It's on their blog post. Like, if you go to their blog post, they have a whole thing with OUP, MCP, and loyalty. It is on there 100%. I look at it all the time. MG Jeremy says, they're keeping their heads down and working hard. No more empty promises. I'm liking what they've been doing lately. Agreed. And again, I would rather buy now when it's boring and there's no crazy updates. One of the other things that they had mentioned in case is because again, it's nice for us in New York that the drops happen at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess that's nice for Europe too. It happens kind of in the mid-afternoon, early evening, and they get their drops at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock over there. But for people in Australia, for people, sometimes it's the middle of the night and it's not really fair. So what they're doing now is instead of going for the drop and being asked to put on the wait list 15 minutes prior, you could do it 24 hours prior, like a full day before, go on the wait list. And if you get selected, if it's the middle of your sleep cycle, you don't have to get up. All you have to do is just have the appropriate amount of gems in there. And if you have those gems, the app will just make the purchase for you. That is perfect. That is perfect. They're going to see a lot more sales. They're going to see it it's going to be really good. I'm really excited for that. Really happy that they did that. I know a ton of people that just don't go for drops because they're foreign. They're like, I forgot, I slept through it. So if you are able, when they roll that out, I don't know. But when you're able to go and, going for this drop 24 hours in advance, I don't care how busy you are, you're going to the bathroom at some point. You're taking a crap, you're going to the bathroom, on the toilet, let me go for this waitlist drop, have the right amount of gems in there, and that's all you need to do. You don't have to worry about sleep, you don't have to worry about work. So yeah, very, very excited about that. Other people like Wes saying that's a good idea. But Woa says, oh snap, can't get on waitlist just for fun anymore. That's true. Some people would go on the waitlist to see if this is really going to sell out, depending how it does on the secondary before the waitlist, will determine if I buy it or not. So yeah, some people, that was a strategy for some people. Ain't no more though. Milgarn says, that's incredible. It do be incredible though. Dollars for Life is one of the best ideas I've heard in a while. That was pretty good, yeah. It says, I can hear the washing machine or music from... I don't think that was mine. That might have been somebody else's. There's time for REP. I wish. Arturo says, bless you. Oh, thank you. I sneezed a couple times. Wax Vision says, Lugard says, nickel resources on stage 2 for Earth 2 per Kissy. Thank you, Kissy. It's time for OMI Dude. It'll happen at some point. Yeah, Secret Invasion is great, Bill Gardner. When pencils? Sometime this week. So it's probably going to be Saturday. I wouldn't expect it on a Wednesday. They would have said something already. I would expect that, I would say probably Friday, Saturday. If they would have only said, guys, Reese is still alive and working hard. I mean, yes, that's true. He is still alive. He is working on again, that's what they mentioned. Hey, just because we don't say anything doesn't mean we're not working on it. That's mentioning OMI without mentioning OMI. B. LaBelle says, where did David tease renaming Veve? If you go to his Twitter and then go to his replies, it was one of the last things he wrote, early this morning, even late last night. That's what he did. They said nothing. What's the damn no OMI talk? Again, they mentioned it just without mentioning it. Jordan Reed says, yep, could at least mention OMI. Again, they did. Oh my God, were you guys listening? Then Oa says, yeah, OMI utility is probably quite far away. I mean, they're working on it, and we should get something before the end of the year. Is that several months away? Yes, it is. Will I have to renew my contract with the job that I have? Because I only have it through the end of this quarter. Yes, I will renew. I don't want to do it for another 2 quarters. I'll renew it for the end of the year, just for an additional quarter on here, so I keep the job. But yeah, I mean, if there's actually no movement on OMI for the rest of the year, I'll get up to 180. Depending on I'll get up to 180 depending on what else I can do. I might even skip an event. I'll go to New York because everyone's going to New York. But once I get those, if Ron English is there and I get those 2 cards, I don't know what they're called, the 2 golden monkeys, and just hang out with everyone, I might skip decon just because, again, the flight and the hotel and yada yada. I would much rather just buy more OMI at that point. And then just do a quick flip and then sell a little bit in January. This way I don't have to worry about those taxes until April of 2025. But again, I'll see where OMI's at. I'll see what happens, and I'll keep y'all posted. It's like they're deliberately not talking about it now. Exactly. I wonder why. Dano says, and when it does come, it will likely be just adding a fee, waitlist spots. No, it'll be a bunch of things. You'll be able to go and add MCP points with it. You'll be able to go and, yeah, you can pay it in order to get more waitlist spots. And those are the first two iterations of the OUP. What says MCP sounds like still a few months away. Home utility will only come after. No, they are coming at the same time. Again, you can't have MCP without OUP. Like, again, if you missed my Star Wars reference before, they are coming at the same time. Symbiont Circle happens to one, affects the other. Alexander Shork says, considering stop DCAing in OMI for the moment. Nah. Hacknocta says, most awkward AMA, doing me a concern, and rip OMI. That's a good point. I wonder what OMI's at right now. I mean, if OMI's at, like, if OMI did a dump after this, might be time to buy. Do a quick flip. Yeah, went down from, it's just, somebody's just like, nope, they noped out of there. They're like, ain't doing it, based on that AMA. How much of the volume was, yeah. All right, if I can't even go by the hour. Yeah, I was, let's see what it's at on the currencies. It's still 6.3 everywhere else. It's the high 6.3s. Gate, Bing, OKX, Ascendex, all that. I don't see anyone really going to buy that up right now. It might be, they might go. I mean, the good news is if you're looking to stack, if you're looking to get mad OMI, it sounds like you have at least till the end of this quarter, if not halfway or through the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. OMI says, why do they not learn? They really need to stop doing updates with no updates. I mean, there were a few updates, but again, yeah, I do think it could have been done in just a couple of tweets. Deadcoin says, I'm 100% all in. Get that bread. But the blockchain team could just be for the collectibles, not OMI. No, it's for OMI. I'm telling you right now, it's for OMI. Well, Wubba says, but we don't have Tinkerbell crowd yet, just like the poo. That's a good point. We don't have that yet. So it would be good if Tinkerbell doesn't do well. Probably good to freaking stack. And it's possibly Reese no longer on the team. He's still on the team. A business says Mind Calendar. Yeah, Mind Calendar. Jordan says get ready for OMI dump. just so you know. Yeah, I mean, kind of did. Jordan Reese says 1 out of 10 nothing burger. I would still call it a 3 out of 10. Maybe 4 out of 10. I mean, there was still some things, and there was still some things to do. No, Dan, there's no OMI update. Well, not really. Michael James says, is it not most likely David turns his toys shops into a VV shop to clean up? Yeah, that's possible for that as well. I mentioned that before, where he says, thinking of renaming one of my companies. It could just be one of his toy shops to be a VV or a Comey shop. And says, in for fun around the Comeyverse in an hour. No, Jordan, like I said, I've been extraordinarily busy. So unfortunately, I won't be able to make that. But I'm sure you guys will have a great time. Bill Gardner says, let's go a Comeyverse. Get that bread. A business says, who takes 90s dumps? I don't understand what the references. Michael James says, nice, loving a Comeyverse session. Yep, I miss those guys. Miss streaming with them. Dino Dragon says, mild frustration is an understatement right now, so Dino Dragon might have mega frustration. Jordan Reese says, let's go. Bill Gardner says, I'm about to buy a few more million OMI the next couple days. Get it, Bill Gardner, get it. Jordan says, yep, cheap. Space says, Randy, join the Comeyverse. I was like an OG member when Jordan had said, hey, let's start this. Jordan's been exceedingly well at ingratiating himself to me, going and saying, requesting my favor, going to be like, hey, Randy, you should I had no idea who Jordan was. He messaged me one day. It's like, Randy, you should interview me. I was like, I like this guy. Why? Tell me why. And he's like, I have 100-something million OMI. I was like, oh, all right. And then he inveigles himself even further, going and saying, hey, we should all do, like, everyone that has a bunch of these different OMI. I want to have an OMI whale group. And he made an OMI whale group. And then he made another one. And then he says, like, let's do it around in the Comeyverse channel. And then we go and we do that. So Jordan's very good at getting people together. Jordan's very good at getting people to go on and stream and just talk about things. Around the Comeyverse would not exist without Jordan. But so we need Reese to golden flip-flop drop. I'd buy that. Jordan says, catch me, Randy. I don't think it's possible for me to catch you unless I go and sell, like, the only things I have left. Dashy. Harris says, yo, Randy. What up, Harris? Dave says, well, you're reaching, working on the background could be 10,000 different things on the Veve side too, not necessarily on OMI. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, they mentioned everything else that they're working on the Veve side, licenses, VeVeverse, like they had mentioned pretty much all of those. There's not really anything else that they're working on. And not saying that Veve or OMI is, or Veve or the VeVeverse is small. They're super big undertakings. But any of the major things that they would be referencing would be OMI. Harris says, what's up, fam? What up, Harris? John Grant says, I like the idea of going into the market right after the drop and seeing what the prices are. That determines whether I want to purchase or not. I don't like the new idea or going for before I buy. Again, you'll still have that option if it's something where you just have to wait those 15 minutes. And if those 15 minutes are up and you want to buy, you can buy. If it sells out, then or what you could do is still go for the wait list, but just not have any gems in the account. And then if you are selected and you like what it's doing, then you can go and add money in. I think that's kind of a solution for a couple of people. Arlo says, well, I'm still bullish on OMI. It's never good when the CEO won't mention the coin by name. Well, the CEO wasn't even on there today. Again, he's exceedingly busy. So, yeah, I would just put that in your brain as well. Savid says, evening all. What's up, Savid? Marie says, first episode was on your channel, Randy. Yeah. We used to go round robin, each. James says, Randy, 106 people watching. You watch it is an impressive feat. VV Army strong. 112 now. VV Army strong. Bill Garner says, Jordan is the man. We do love Jordan. Reed says, will Marvel sell toys with a VV digital clone? At some point, yeah, I'd imagine. I imagine a lot of that will happen with VV. Jordan, give me those smiles. Vej says, they better announce an OMI update soon. I mean, they're doing it on their own time schedule. We could not see an actual OMI update for the rest of the year. I don't know, or they could surprise us end of this quarter. Most likely, I would say it would be in Q4, but again, we'll see. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please, Jordan says, I was wondering, that's a Vaser, maybe they will do a big announcement on OMI soon. Guys, they do an update now once every couple months. If this is the update they have once every couple months, they're not doing a big announcement on OMI. They'll just roll it out and do other stuff. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say goodbye to Dashi. Goodbye, Dashi. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, meow, meow. Smash that like button. Smash it. Subscribe. Meow.